Hello, we're back. Gonna keep painting on this thing. Um, like the way it's coming out so far. I got definitely have to do match this color scheme on the building up top. So that's what I'm gonna start with, which means mixing up some more paint. And we're using phthalo blue or phthalo green and French ultramarine blue. We can mix that up. So I have just been experimenting with these water-based oil or water-soluble oil paints. I was gifted a kit of them, and so I decided I was going to use them to paint this terrain. And so far, it's turned out really cool. I quite like the way that this stuff is working out. Excuse me. So I'm just mixing here, making sure I don't have any chunks. If I do, I'm pulling the chunks out and mashing them up. So it's a good consistency of the paint there. Worked perfect. So I think I'll probably just start right here, and I'm not super worried about dribbling it all down or anything. We're just gonna get paint on here. I will do a few different layers of washes, of oil washes, so we'll be able to cover any sort of weird mess ups with all those washes. But right now I'm just trying to get this watered down water-based oil paint, which I thinned down quite a bit. Just trying to get a base coat on these upper ruins. And so far so good. I am unfortunately making a mess on the inside here, which I already painted with the kind of burgundy color I mixed up. It doesn't look so good, but like I just said a moment ago, I'm going to cover this in a lot of different oil washes and stuff, so it will be covered up. So I am going to try to be careful here. This burgundy is actually still tacky, which is cool. That means that it really doesn't dry very fast. So definitely a lesson in bottom to top. You know, I should be painting everything up from the top down. But I didn't. I started with this purple, so now I'm gonna have this green mixing in with it. That's fine. I'll blend it. We'll figure it out. we'll cover it with oil washes if we need. So I really dig how this teal turns kind of dark, almost kind of a brown when it covers the magenta, but when it covered the teal side it really was bright, so it's going to be a nice contrast between the two. I might try to do like these skulls in here copper, because I feel like that would contrast with this teal really well. But that is a whole other step, putting on those details and stuff. Here I'm just going to try to get a base coat, and I'm going to try to get this thing playable, and I'm going to try to get the rest of it playable as well, the rest of the table playable. And I think I have what, 9 pieces, so I don't think I'll finish this piece that quickly, but it will definitely be quicker than building it. Especially because this technique, I'm just trying to get all on the back sides and underneath if I can. This technique with this wet blending this oil is actually really fast. Can cover a lot of space and get it highlighted and blended up pretty nicely. So I do another technique, but I just use acrylic paint, and I might utilize that technique, but I want to use as much of this free paint I got up. So just trying to get a good coat. I don't want any of that zenithal showing through. I apparently didn't mix that blue good enough, because I just got a chunk of it and it made like a blue smear, which just gave me an idea of how I can add some shadows to this too, as well as some highlights, all in the same swoop. Because this side I feel like is getting the green light, and this side is getting the red light here. I'm not going to highlight it as all the ways up to white like I did on this side. So I'm going to need to add shadows in it to bring this base color down, so that when I highlight it up just a little bit, it contrasts with the shadows. And I will show you how I do that shortly. Just got to get this base coat down. Feel free to holler out. My chat thing is open, so feel free to holler out any questions or anything if you have them. I can show you the paint that I'm using. It is nice paint. I'm enjoying this. Thank you very much, Kate, for ordering the wrong oil paint and not wanting to use them. So that looks pretty good and coated. I don't see much of that zenithal hiding through. Oh, I lied. Missed the spot. Okay, so now it's mostly covered. So to add some shadows, because I actually feel like this is the more shadowy side, and maybe light is coming from that side, or maybe this is the more shadowy side. I don't know, we'll find out as I add these shadows. So I'm just going to take some more of this blue, and get it all over the place. Not what I meant to do. So this is just the titanium blue I mixed up in the first place. And I'm not going to mix it really well. I'm going to kind of leave it like a blob. Maybe a little mixing. But more of the blue. So then I'm going to use that blue to just darken this whole side. try to get some shadows. So I'm just running this blue, and I can actually, since it says 0 people in here, so I apologize for wiggling this to anybody who is watching if my thing is wrong. If not, try to get you a little bit, whoa, a little bit closer. I'm sorry, this doesn't want to stay that way. There you go. Well, so should be able to see where I'm adding the blue in shadow. And I'm thinking the green light's coming from this way. So we're going to start with this blue shadow on this side. Right. And then I'm going to highlight this with just a little bit of this. It's the leftover brown that I was using earlier. It's got a little white in it, but it also has some of that magenta in it, so it's going to bring it back towards this tone anyways. So it will help it make it feel like there's like a red light or something, a dingier light coming from this side. That's the idea, at least. You should be able to work that, blue that you just put down, that shadowy blue. And then I'm not going to worry about the other side right now, because the other side is lighter. The other side we're going to highlight. Hey, Hive Scum, what up? Thanks. It's a donation to the Blurs Crafting. It is water-soluble oil paint that was donated to me because the person didn't want to mess with it. So there's nothing like free product. What up? Steve, Hive Scum Steve? No, wait, it's not that Steve, right? That was a joke, sorry. Well, welcome. What do you think? Pretty good blue? So, I want to, see how bright I got it on this side? Let me see if I get this without jiggling that fucking camera everywhere. So, how bright I got it on this side is how I want to highlight it on that top part. Scoot out. So instead of highlighting, so I shadowed this side a little bit. So now we're going to go back. I'm going to just have, where is it? Some white here. And this is all that oil-based water paint. Water-based oil paint. That's what I meant. There you go. Look at F. Frank got it on top of it. Welcome back, F. Frank. So you're a little zoomed in here, so you can't really see my palette. But all I've done is lightened up some of this base teal that I made. And we're going to highlight the back of this part. So I think you guys can see here. So I'm just gonna start from the top down, just like Totally Not Panicking taught me. You know, you just start blending in the lighter with the darker, and you'll get those medium tones. So that's what I want to do on this side, and hopefully I'll be able to get the effect that the green light is coming from one corner and the maroon light is coming from the other corner. Normally I wouldn't attempt to, you know, do really OSL on a big piece like this, but I feel like using this type of paint really speeds up painting. So yeah, and this technique really speeds up painting. So doing a little bit of extra with that extra time will just, you know, really make things pop. So we're gonna grab a little more white. Try to highlight this side up a little bit more. You guys can see that as well, but I'm just trying to get this to pop like down here is. Might try to touch this up too while I'm here. It's still slightly tacky, and it's been approximately like 2 hours. So it definitely has a long dry time, similar to oils. It's a similar working style as oils, but it's much easier. I might just go and see how a little bit of more light kind of cast over. Can I do that? This is an experiment for me too. I'm not the best at OSL lighting, so I have been trying to get better. I found that this technique helps me quite a bit using this, you know, wet blending. A lot of times when I'm painting with acrylics, I'll use a medium, like a blending medium, that slows down how quickly it dries, just so I can use a similar technique to this. And that has really helped me in my OSL. Kind of lets you do OSL a little more naturally, so. Thanks, F. Frank. I did. I had a nice lunch. Pesto sandwich. Bam. That's going on really, really easily, really nicely. And I kind of want to do just a quick experiment. Yeah, you guys got that in front. So I'm gonna see if I can't highlight these skulls here. And to do that, I'm just gonna grab another palette so that I keep the. Oh, I guess I could put a little yellow on this. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna mess with a little yellow ochre here. Actually, just gonna try to make like a little bit of a brown out of it. Get rid of a little bit of that yellow. So just trying to get it to the right consistency here. Not too thick, not too runny. And changing its tone just ever so slightly. So I'm just gonna go in here, smear on a layer of this stuff. And if I don't, for example, like say I'm not liking how that's coming out. For the towers, no, not yet. I was thinking I might do the corrugated in. I'll turn it real quick. There's like corrugation and then non-corrugation. So I might do these in alternating tones, but I don't know. I'm always going off the cuff, Frank. I usually have an idea, and then I go with the idea. I don't try to force something unless it has to be that way for mechanical reasons. And in those cases, I usually build it around the mechanical reason. So, real quick, I started putting some paint on there, but the teal and blue paint underneath there wasn't really doing it for me, or maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I just want to show this as an example. You can get your brush and kind of go through it and pull off some of that paint. In fact, if you get your brush a little wet, you should be able to liquefy that paint a little bit. And then pull it back off. And you can do, you can do this quite a bit until you basically scrub it clean. You're not going to be able to scrub it completely clean because it's not, like with oil paints, you could at least get it relatively clean. It looks like this style, this paint isn't doing it quite as well. With oil paints, if you just keep putting the mineral spirits right there, or the white spirits or whatever, it eventually just goes back to a very, very slightly pigmented version. This seems a lot more pigmented, which is cool. It means that the pigments are really strong in the paint, which means lots of coverage, which is exactly something I want. It also just means that instead of trying to go and doing any cleanup like this, I'm probably just going to wait till it completely dries to come back and do these details. But I do like the idea of bringing in the colors from the surrounding area. So having that blue-green already there, and it's slightly mixing with this ochre to make like a brown-green, isn't a bad thing to me. So I'm going to continue with this example of how you can highlight with this wet blending technique. Pretty easy. So you can see I've worked that ochre kind of down the center. I'm going to bring a little bit more of it from the top. And pull it back down towards the center. right? Okay. And now we're going to take a little bit of the white and we're going to add it to our yellow ochre. And we're going to do that same kind of motion. Only stroking down from the top to the bottom, just so we get only highlights. Like, it's kind of like an overbrushing technique. We're only doing highlights on the top. So we got a little bit going there. Now we're going to go ahead and get a really light version of it. It's a little bit browned from the greens on the brush, but that's all right. We're just gonna keep. Now I'm not gonna do this with all of them right now. I just thought it'd be a cool example to do, to show it real quick how you can highlight with this wet blending technique. Relatively easy and quickly. Blend. I don't know if you can see that, but that's good enough for like finished. Like with a wash over that, when it dries, that will be perfectly fine finished. So that is another easy way. And for example, say this is all dry and I come back through, I can just put a layer of paint, you know, and start working on that and go through and do the details like that relatively easily. So here's where we're sitting so far. I feel like I need to make a color for this, and I think maybe we'll do, since I have this yellow ochre out, maybe we'll blend up some of this kind of a neutral color. It might be a little green because I have phthalo green everywhere on everything right now. So it does. I'm noticing that as I'm kind of like trying to reawaken it, it's breaking into a bunch of little particles. So it might have a very interesting granulation effect. There's like a possibility for that, which might be cool. We're gonna see. We're gonna experiment right now. Might as well, since it's already happening in my face. So because my palette is plastic, the paint that was there before, and you guys can't see, the blue-green that was right there before is now being knocked around by my brush, and it's not dissolving back into the water. It is very much turning into particles that are floating on top of this weird brown that I got going. but that's totally fine. Let's see how it looks. It's very thin. It's a good industrial color. I could put a little bit more yellow in it if I really wanted to. And since we're definitely going to need more than what I was able to blend up, I'm going to add more ochre in there too. We're just going to make a big old mess with it. And what I'll do is when I get to highlighting this side, I'll try to highlight it on the warm side, and when I try to highlight this side, I'll try to highlight it on the cool side. So that will be a fun experiment with this piece. I like doing that as opposed to just being like, oh, I gotta slog through this this build. It's kind of like, okay, let's try something new. So the pigment's great. It's really strong. But I also added too much water. So this is user error that it's being so runny like this. I could have probably thickened it up, but I'll get more surface coverage this way anyways, and can do a couple of coats if I need. It's good. Muted industrial yellow, huh? Not bad. Might be a little bit better that I did make this paint really transparent. That'll help me see where the warm highlights need to be and the cool highlights need to be even after I paint it, because transparency will allow this. I don't know if you can see, there's like some magenta right here from the initial spray. So just really trying to get full coverage, and then I will start highlighting this particular piece, this particular color. Right now I'm just trying to make sure I get some base coat everywhere, so when I'm highlighting, if I don't get paint there, it's okay because I already got paint there, while also not making a huge mess, hopefully. Okay, so since this is such a mess of a palette now anyways. Let me see if I can't just... trying to get some highlights out of here now. I could actually just totally leave it that drippy color and it would be fine for that kind of drippy consistency, but where the two colors kind of blend, that's where I'm gonna get really like the kind of magic of wet blending happening. So I want to try to repeat the teal on the other parts, you think? And some like a rusty orange, or even this ochre. Add some red to the ochre. I can dig that. A friend designed my channel logo for me, and she has experience in tattooing, so she has like a lot of lettering. That's why I asked her to design me up something. So I don't really have a lot of experience in sign making. I do love it. Like old school style sign making, or like painting on your windows or doors. This looks pretty cool. So I'm just trying to bulk out that ochre color. It was just a little bit too transparent for me. The paint does have really good coverage. Like even when I spilt water into the palette and was using way watered down version, it still covered quite well. I don't know. I don't know if that will stay that way. It definitely could dry and lose a lot of pigment. This side is drying pretty good. It still has a decent coloring to it, so but okay, I dig that. I do feel like trying to mess around with some color here, so just mixing a little red into the ochre. We're just gonna pull that in on this side. Oh, let me pull this back. Sorry, guys. So we're just going to do this warmer, slightly warmer tone. I just mixed a little bit of red in there, but you can see it's a warmer tone. And we're just going to put it on this edge where that magenta, original spray paint magenta highlight was at. So, and doing that makes you recognize that there's a different color coming from this side. Blending colors together might be like one of my favorite things to do that I've ever experienced in existence. So anytime I have a chance, I try to. So now all I'm really seeing is like that looks like it needs touch up is where the warm hits the lightened ochre. So all I'm gonna do to fix that is gonna bring in a little bit of white and bring another kind of band of highlight down where the two mix together. Just a little bit, not as far down as I did with that one. And that'll kind of give it just another, right? Oh, that's awesome, Frank. Well, if I ever need a sign made, I might hit you up. I really like lettering and old school calligraphy and that type of stuff. That's why I had her, like I have the original. Right, like that's why I had her. I was like, just I want you to draw me. I want a physical copy. So, and not like a digitally made one. I wanted some, ink touching paper type of thing. So now we're going to do a similar thing. And I'm just going to get myself a little more ochre. Blam. Blam. Okay, so I got a little more ochre on my palette, and I'm gonna move this here so you can see. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to put a little bit of cool color on this side, right? So then you'll have your warm orange and your cool orange. And to do that, I'm just going to take a little bit of this. Oh, that was a lot of it. And just tone down that ochre a little bit. I might have done a little bit too much, but I can always blend it back up. So then I'm just going to bring in this kind of green color here on the side. So super easy, not too far off. I don't think I have to mess with it too much. I'm gonna get a little bit of white on my brush, not that much. Tone it down just a little bit. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna try to move in some little bit of shading between the two. Yes, individual handcraft. Yeah, I mean, crafting, creativity in any form really is cool. I just have uh, I'm just drawn towards like handcrafted things a lot. It's why my YouTube channel is so low tech, because I'm not super techy. But I'm gonna say that I like the way that's coming out. I dig it. I think the only thing I'd really want to do is back you guys up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Whoa. You see the ceiling a little bit better? Sorry. But so not bad so far. The orange on this side and green on this side really does help sell that there's light shining from either side. So super dig that. Whatever colors I do put on this are going to have a cool effect on it to just kind of match that effect. I do have quite a bit of this teal still sitting here, so I think I'm going to maybe paint. There's a few tiles that could get painted up teal, so I'm going to do that real quick before I change the tone of this color for any reason. So far, this paint has been excellent coverage. Like whatever it's going on, it is definitely changing the pigment of it, which is great. So I would recommend that. I will definitely look up how much got paid for this particular kit, and I will estimate how much, after doing a few of these, how many terrain pieces I could paint with them to see if it's worth it. But just the blending I'm getting out of it, it's kind of worth it. If you like that style. If you don't, then yeah, that's not gonna be very exciting. But just gonna hit a few of these like random pieces of debris. That have a similar consistency to the materials that I already painted teal. I'm gonna hit them with some teal. I think I'll go ahead and hit up here too. And then I'll probably switch up my palette and try to get some color to do some of the pipes and stuff with. But I might be able to do this corrugated with a kind of brown orange is what's going to end up happening. Okay, so then I'm going to grab a little white. Go ahead and try to get me some highlights on here too. Give me some nice mid-tones. Have some good blending. I think I'm gonna paint this ladder up teal too. Because I painted the one on the other side teal. And again, these colors are a bit bright. They will dull as they dry, and I will be doing some dark oil washes over them. So that will tone it all down. Trying to do a little bit of highlighting on this ladder. But, so at least it has some little highlight on it, so I don't really have to go back to it. Missed a spot. Blam. I think since I have this, look at my brush rinse, since I have this red out here, I think I might make this, do this face up while it's here. So I'm just going to take some darker red. Just cover the whole thing in this dark red. And I have some of this like leftover oranginess from doing that tower. I'm going to add it to that red. And I'm going to just get a little bit of a different shade going. On the face. Get a little bit of like more of a skin tone going on the face. Okay, so now that I got that going, I'm going to take a little bit of white and kind of run a line. With that white where I think the light would be coming from. Right, so I think the light, so it's definitely hitting off this corner edge. So blam. So now I'm just gonna clean brush. Wipe that white off. I'm just gonna start blending it over. Hopefully I can get a little bit more. And if this like fleshy orange isn't doing it enough for me, I can always, pick up a little bit more of that lightened and bring it back in here if I need. Because interesting thing, your eyes only see color when there's light, right? So get a little more white. I can actually scoot y'all closer. $5 for 21. This is a 37 mil. So we'll see. So far, the highlighting and blending has been so easy, with this style that it kind of makes it worth it. It really just matters, how much does it take to actually cover a piece and fully paint a piece. And it seems like it wouldn't take very much. So here I'm just blending the dark back into the light. Making that other cheek a little highlight. Try to grab a little bit of that red. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Try to blend these two together right here. I'm just going through and trying to just gently pick out the little raised bits on that side. Plan. So I can zoom in a little bit. Is that gonna stay? Hell no, that doesn't want to stay. But pretty easy blend right there. But yeah, I'm gonna let this dry because now every time I'm touching it, I'm smearing stuff because pretty much there's paint everywhere besides that tube. So before I paint the tube, I want to let it dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. Thank you all for hanging out with me. If you want to catch more of this or see any of my other videos, you can check out my channel. You can subscribe or hit the notification bell if you want to see when I'm live streaming. I'm gonna try to live stream every day. Gonna go for noon Eastern Standard Time, but that's just how it is for me. All right, well, thanks everyone for chilling with me. I'll catch you all later. Peace.